They bought the farmhouse in Vermont because it was isolated. That's what drew them in, the silence, the distance, the absence of people. But isolation isn't always peaceful. Sometimes it's a trap, a perfect cage where no one hears you scream. It was a weather-beaten house with blackened shutters, sagging steps, and a collapsed stone wall marking the edge of the property. The kind of place time forgets. It had been standing for over 120 years, and according to the old man who sold it to them, it had never been fully emptied. At the edge of the ceiling in the master bedroom, there was a hatch, painted shut, no stairs, no ladder, just a square-shaped shadow in the wood. It was sealed. It had always been sealed. The first day was quiet. The second night was not. At precisely 2:14 a.m., the house woke up. It began with a long, drawn-out, dragging sound, heavy, labored, above their bed. The kind of noise that makes your heart stall in your chest because it shouldn't exist in the space you occupy. The ceiling groaned. Then came the knocks. 3 of them. Slow. Measured. As if something on the other side was testing the wood, measuring how thin the barrier really was. The following night, the dragging returned, but louder. Closer. Paired with a new sound. Breathing. It was shallow, wet, like something decaying was trying to stay alive just a little longer. They placed a chair beneath the attic panel. The wood was firm. The edges hadn't been disturbed. There was no opening, and yet the sounds continued. Every single night, always at 2:14. It wasn't long before the air inside the house began to change. It grew heavier after dark, like something unseen was pressing down on their lungs. The walls seemed to lean in, and the mirrors reflected things that weren't there. Shadows with no source. Figures without detail. Then came the smell. It started faint. Mold, wet earth, old rot. But by the 5th night, the bedroom reeked of soil and sulfur. Their pillows absorbed it. The floorboards wept it. That's when the humming began. A voice, small, tuneless, rising from the vents and floor cracks. A child's voice, singing a lullaby no child should know. Just the same 4 notes, again and again, always cut short. They tried ignoring it, then tried recording it. But every attempt ended the same. Static, silence, or the sound of their own names whispered backward. At last they broke the attic open. The seal cracked like brittle bone. The panel dropped with a bang. What spilled out wasn't dust. It was black ash, bitter on the tongue like it had been rotting in place for a century. They climbed up, slowly, flashlight beams cutting through choking dark. The attic was wrong. It was wider than it should have been, as if the house had stretched from the inside out. In the center, a wooden rocking chair moved, even without breeze. Around it, forming a semicircle, were porcelain dolls, dozens of them, their faces shattered. their eyes gouged. Some had nails driven into their foreheads. One was upside down, hung from the ceiling by hair. In the corner, a suitcase, small, locked by a rotting leather strap. Inside, baby shoes, bone fragments, and a photograph burned around the edges, showing a girl with black eyes, mouth open in song. Beside it, a journal, mold-eaten, still damp, pages ruined except for a few. They spoke of a girl named Elsie who sang from the walls. She only stopped when someone watched her sleep. One entry simply read, "She knows when you dream. She waits for silence." They burned everything that night. The dolls screamed as they cracked in the fire. The suitcase bled a thick black ooze. The rocking chair refused to burn. It turned to ash, then reformed in the flames. And yet they felt safe for a moment, until 2:14 a.m. That night, something new came. The walls breathed, and from the far corner of their bedroom they heard wood creaking, soft, rhythmic. The rocking chair had returned. Though they'd destroyed it, it stood untouched, rocking slow and steady. The lullaby started again, clearer now, filled with words they didn't understand. It circled the room, bleeding from the cracks in the floorboards. They ran, left the house, never returned. Months later, the property went back on the market. The listing claimed it was restored and spiritually cleansed. Buried in the photo gallery was an image not taken by the realtor. The attic, clean, staged, ordinary. But in the center stood that same chair, and behind it a girl, her face blurred, her mouth open, still singing.